Welcome to Live Lunch Break. I'm Rick Coster. We're streaming live at theday.com. Do not chew with your mouth open. That's not a good idea. Even though Thor Jensen, our guest today, is a pretty jaw-droppingly extraordinary guitar player, and it's a privilege to have him here. He's got the guitar face down on his lap because it's so beautiful. I don't know that you can stand to look at it. And Thor, you did promise to give me the guitar after the show?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's Thor Jensen, and we're glad to have him back in New London.
Thanks for having me.
Cloder Farms.
Lose yourself in the possibilities for your home, yard, heart, and soul.
Come to Cloder Farms
and see what we're building for you.
Offshore, out in the Sound, your island getaway awaits. Yes, Block Island beckons. With so much to do and see, a Block Island getaway is now closer than ever. Ride the high-speed Block Island Express from New London on one of 4 daily departures, where an island escape is yours at goblockisland.com. That's goblockisland.com.
So by doing the house and trade-in, you know, that we use that towards our down payment towards this condo, and it made life so much easier for us. It took all the worry out of everything.
You're back with us at Live Lunch Break. You can shut your mouth now. I wasn't lying. Thor Jensen is with us in that first piece. Just pretty staggering, sir. That was terrific.
Well, thank you.
Now, Thor is from around here originally and sort of made a name for himself along with his band Incognito, Suffer Love, ISL. But he's been gone for a couple of years when they relocated to the West Coast. Been playing with ISL out there, also traveling up and down with Quiet Life out of Portland, and those guys are originally from this area too. So you've been sort of back and forth, and right now you're here, so that's good.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. It's good to be, this is my first summer back in 3 years.
And you guys, you know, in the wake of the tragedy of Steve Kaika's death from the Reducers, they always played the fireworks sets at Sailfest, and ISL did it this year, and I'm sure it was probably kind of a bittersweet honor.
It was. I mean, it was a real privilege that, you know, we got asked to fill that spot. You know, it's unfortunate, you know, the reasoning, but it was great to be able to do it.
And that was a great set.
Well,
I was on deadline, so I had to leave. But now, the first piece you did, you're building on loops. I may not be the smartest guy in the world, but I heard Django Reinhardt-isms. I hear Robert Fripp-isms. I hear samba. I hear all over. But not only is it not a mess, it's completely Thor. Now, is that a written piece? How does that work?
Well, it's sort of, in a way, become a written piece just as far as now I do that at every show. And there's certain things I do the same every time. But it started just because I had all these shows booked, and I had this whole loop setup going, and I had only about maybe 4 songs prepared. And so I needed something, and those chords are from a Django Reinhardt song.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I just changed a little bit, and so it's just sort of stuck with it, and it's endured, and it's one of my favorite things to do.
It's just, and you know, we've got Alex and Peter and Tim in here, the support, the tech guys, and all 4 of us were just freaking because that was magnificent.
Oh, well, thank you.
So what direction do we go in for this next tune?
I think I might stick with the loops and do another instrumental that is a written piece.
Okay, great.
It's called Bank Street.
Bank Street?
I wrote it, been living on Bank Street.
I've heard of that play.
Yeah, it's somewhere around here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're ready when you are.
All right, cool.
Offshore, out in the Sound, your island getaway awaits. With so much to do and see, a Block Island getaway is now closer than ever. Where an island escape is yours at GoBlockIsland.com.
So literally, we're changing deeds. You're using your house at an agreed upon number towards a down payment for the purchase here. It couldn't be much easier, really.
Come to Cloder Farms.
We believe in the art of handcrafted furniture. Workbench built in the USA to your specifications. The Cloder Farms Keystone Collection. Furniture handmade just for you. And see what we're building for you.
This is Rick Coster, streaming from theday.com at Live Lunch Break, and this has been just fabulous. We have Thor Jensen with us today. The ISL guitarist, I guess that's probably the best known project you're associated with it. You've been playing with, since you came back from California, temporarily, been with Raise the Rent and with ISL, and then you're getting ready to go back out on the road with Quiet Life. I've seen you at solo shows improvise behind spoken word poets. I've seen you do incredible versions of Robert Johnson songs, Delta Blues. When Thor Jensen wakes up in the morning, what musical muse is calling to you? How does this all work?
Lately, it's been a lot of Django Reinhardt. Whole lot. I mean, that's why I got this thing.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of practice. You know, I realize more and more that how important practice is and how useful it is. And so it's a lot of playing scales for a couple hours a day. And so my muse at the moment is just really my fingers. So I just want to know my instrument. You know?
Right.
And so every day there's one thing that sort of confuses me.
You're alluding to the great gypsy guitar player, Django Reinhardt. And for those of you who might not know, Django, and I'm not sure how his hand was damaged, mutilated, but he only had like, what, 3.5 fingers or something?
His hand looked like this. It was a fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Professor Longhair, who learned his left hand on the piano because so many keys were broken as a kid that he was growing up, and he had to come up with his own rhythmic patterns that would work. So is the handicap that Django had, it worked to his advantage because he was forced to create?
Right.
But does that make it harder for someone in a more conventional?
Absolutely. It's because I mean a lot of that stuff is actually easier to do with 2 fingers, but you feel foolish doing it because I mean you have these other 2 that are just there,
right?
And so you know it just doesn't make sense, and I can't really compute that. So
it is amazing. Now, what you've been doing is using a loop system, and that's why it sounds like there's 9,000 players and it's only Thor. But you put down a pattern, you hit that to the loop, it goes, and then you can build and cascade on top of that. Is that ultimately almost maddening? I mean, where do you stop? Is it like figuring out pi or something?
Well, it's surprisingly simple, but the difficult thing to do is to not get too carried away.
Right.
It's so easy because I mean I can loop infinite loops. I can make it sound like, you know, the building's coming down, you know, and so it gets to a point where you have to take a step back and decide, you know, I might not need to do that many. That's been the hardest part. It's been a few years now of using it, and it's as the further I go with it, the less I do with it.
We're again talking with Thor Jensen here on Live Lunch Break, and you started doing this, as you said, as a sort of tool of necessity when you were booking solo gigs and needed some way to fill out your material. So there's a very improvisatory live aspect to it, but when I'm sitting here listening to you play these things, I'm like, I would love to hear him do recordings of this. Is that something that would be in the works? Or?
Yeah, I did a recording of a version of House of the Rising Sun I did, and I tried recording it with this, but it ended up just sort of not working, so I made the recording as if I were using this.
Oh, cool.
Where I just sort of laid one layer down and looped that over and over. And so that big bump, I mean, the power of computers, I think I had like 26 different layers on that.
Fabulous. Well, I will look forward to hearing that, and in the meantime, what you got for us now?
That's a good question. Well, you alluded to that Robert Johnson song. Might as well do that.
Love it. All right.
I can use the loop on that. All right, cool.
My baby's gone, don't believe she's coming back. She took the last nickel out of nation's hand. You better come on in my kitchen, 'cause it's going to be raining down the woman I'm loving, got her from my best friend. That choking got lucky and stole back again. You better come on in my game, 'cause it's going to be raining down the trouble, everybody throws it down. Looking for a good thing, and Lord, it can't be found. You better come on into my kitchen, 'cause it's going to be raining now. My body's aching, I can't feel a thing. Been packing boxes to buy a diamond ring. You better come on in my kitchen, 'cause it's going to be raining down the
It's pretty clear that we had something to offer that other listings, other agents' listings did not have to offer. We offered them the opportunity to sell their home, get their home sold in a very slow, tough market.
Come to Cloder Farms.
Lose yourself in the possibilities for your home, yard, heart, and soul.
Come to Cloder Farms.
And see what we're building for you.
Offshore, out in the Sound, your island getaway awaits. Yes, Block Island beckons. With so much to do and see, a Block Island getaway is now closer than ever. Ride the high-speed Block Island Express from New London on one of 4 daily departures, where an island escape is yours at GoBlockIsland.com. That's GoBlockIsland.com.
What you don't get to see during these breaks is the backstage minutia, so to speak. This is Rick Coster at theday.com's live lunch break. Happens every Thursday. And today we have Thor Jensen, the guitar virtuoso. We were just talking about our mutual affection for Johnny Winter, and he's still bringing it.
Oh man, that guy's bad as ever.
He is, and that's the previous piece was "Come On In My Kitchen" by Robert Johnson. What a great version! But you said you got turned on to it through Johnny Winter, so
yeah,
influences are just endless loops to everything else, right? So you're playing tonight in Westerly, right?
Yeah, at the Malted Barley.
Does that mean you will be served some malted barley yourself?
I hope so.
Is that part of the backstage rider?
It better be. Yeah, usually.
Malted barley. What time are you playing?
I'm playing at 9 to 12.
And I know in a couple of weeks you'll be headed back to the West Coast because you've been doing some shows for over a year now with Quiet Life, touring with them. So that's coming up. In the meantime, because so many people were excited to see you ISL back together over the weekend, I'm not sure what's the status of that band, and will you be playing any more in the near future with those guys?
Yeah, we'll be playing more. You know, it's a lot of fun getting back together with those guys, and we're having a ball. You know, best friends in the world, so it's not much better than that.
No, that's a great band.
Yeah, and a catalog that's a lot easier to recall than we initially thought.
Well, y'all are such good players. That doesn't.
I mean, you know, we did have 8 years, so we had a lot of material to come up. You know, reach back for. But we're actually playing on Friday night in Westerly.
Okay.
Not sure what incarnation of the group it's going to be, just because it was pretty last minute.
Right.
But we'll be there making
Where's
noise.
That?
That's at Perks and Corks.
You notice a recurring liquid motif on these gigs.
Yeah, right?
We got the beer joint, the wine bar. Okay, it's all good. So, all right, you've gone to the Yango Acoustic.
Yep.
So you want to do a couple for us?
Yeah.
Look forward to it. All right.
All right, cool.
When the night is young and the moon is round, I think of the one who held me so tight. Was I a fool, or was I a man? Was I cruel to follow my plan? Oh, what have I done as I lie awake? I often wonder, what does it take to make a good lover? Was I a fool, or was I a man? Was I cruel to follow my plan? What have I done without that big blow. Was I a fool? Was I a man? Was I cruel to follow my plan? Oh, what have I done? That was a happy one. Alright. So this one's called Hear You Cry. Me to stay, but you don't want me to go. On Monday you sweet, babe, by Tuesday you turn cold. You say need me, still won't take my ring. Do you really love me, babe, or am I just your friend? Yeah, you tell me you call, but my phone she still don't sing. On the streets I'm your slave, but at home I'm your king. You say need me, but still won't take my ring. Do you really love me, babe, or am I just your king? For good and not ever tell me why. But I sure made you cross when I told you that I wasn't surprised. I said I'm finished, I'm ready to say goodbye. And as I walked away I could faintly hear you cry. And as I walked away I could faintly hear you cry. As I walked away, I could faintly hear you cry.
What a privilege. Thor Jensen, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Man,
appreciate it.
Live lunch break doesn't get any better than this. I'm going to tip 20% today at lunch wherever I go because of Thor. So next week at noon, Thursday, we've got Jim Lampos. We'd like to thank New London Harbor Towers, the Block Island Express, the Guard Arts Center, Cloder Farms, Pete Wappy, and Alex Nunes for getting it right in the house. And Thor, you'll be tonight in Westerly at the beer.
The Malted Barley.
Malton Barley, and then ISL Friday.
At Perks and Corks.
And that tells you everything you need to know. Thanks a lot, Thor. We sure enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'll see you next week.